Hi all, in this session we are going to learn about how to deploy application on AKS. Simply stands for Azure Kubernetes Service. Here we can learn how to create AKS cluster, what is manifest file, how we are going to apply the manifest file to AKS cluster. Each and everything we are going to discuss in detail, and I am going to show it to you in a practical manner as well. Here I just made the material for your quick reference. The steps which I am going to follow, each and everything I had mentioned in the material. Guys, while you practice in the lab from your end, just please refer the material, that will help out you in order to understand in a better way. What is the prerequisite? Here first of all I need to create one Kubernetes cluster, because of if I want to deploy one application I need to create a platform. Here by using the Kubernetes I am going to create one platform in order to host my web application. Here what is the first prerequisite? I need to create the Kubernetes cluster first. How to create the Kubernetes cluster and what are the different components we had already discussed in the last session. So right now what I will do, quickly I am going to create one Kubernetes service. So first of all I am going to the resource group in order to check whether there is any existing resource group is there or not. Right now I don't have any existing resource group, so that's why I am going to create one new resource group. The name I am going to set is RG1 and I am going to choose the location Japan West. Click on review plus create and click on create. Then the resource group will be created with the name RG1 in the region Japan West. Just go to home and click on the resource group. Just refresh it in order to check whether it has been created or not. Yes, it has been successfully created. So once the resource group has been created, what is the further thing? I need to create the Kubernetes service. Just click on Kubernetes service. Just click on create. Select the Kubernetes cluster. Then it is redirecting you the page where you are going to define the configuration which are required in order to create the Kubernetes cluster. Here I am going to select the resource group RG1, and here I am going to select the cluster preset configuration dev test, and the cluster name I am going to set as AKS12. AKS12 is the cluster name which I am going to define, and the region I am going to choose the Japan West. The fleet manager I am going to choose none, and availability zones none. Okay, fine. And the AKS price tiering is free. I am going to continue with the free tier, and the default version I am going to choose. And automatic updates, is it required? No, I am going to disable it. And node security channel type I am going to select none, means no security updates will be automatically applied to my cluster. And local accounts with Kubernetes are back, that's fine. Click on next. By default one node pool will be generated. If you want to modify, just go inside of the pool, Azure pool. Here I don't want any kind of zone availability, so that's why I select none. And 3 nodes, max 3 nodes I am going to mention. Minimum the 2 nodes will be created if I create this cluster, because of the minimum node count which I had set is 2. Remember guys, the same thing which I had defined I am going to show to you by executing the commands as well. Okay, the minimum node count is 2 and the maximum node count is 3. Node is nothing but a virtual machine, the backend server. And maximum pods per node, here up to 250 you can set, but right now only I am going to set 20. That will fulfill my requirement. Okay, just click on update. Fine, click on next, and here you are going to choose Azure CNI node subnet. That's fine, that will fulfill my requirement. And without disturbing anything, leave as it is. Just click on review plus create. It is going to validate. Once the validation has been successfully passed, it is going to enable the option create. Just click on create. Once it has been highlighted, then just click on create. Then the deployment of Kubernetes cluster has been initiated. It is going to take time in order to create the cluster, because of, as you know, the Kubernetes cluster is a heavy service. It is going to create lot of things behind of your cluster, so that's why it is going to take some time. In the meanwhile, what we will do, we just need to explore about the manifest file. What is manifest file? What are the different components in the manifest file? Let us have a quick look on it. And one more thing, the manifest file, what do you mean by manifest file? The manifest file is a YAML file that defines the desired state of a Kubernetes resources or object, like a deployment or services. Whatever the things you want to mention or define, you are going to define over the manifest file only. So if you are going to apply the manifest file to the Azure cluster, the things which you are defining in the manifest file, that will be executed on top of the AKS cluster. Okay, it outlines how the object should be configured. Here you are going to mention how the object should be configured, the details like container images, resources, and networking. Guys, suppose if you want to host any application in the traditional manner, what you will do, you are going to create one network. Inside of the network, you are going to host one virtual machines. On top of the virtual machines, you are going to deploy the services or applications, and you are going to open some kind of ports, and you are going to add the VMs on behind of load balancer in order to serve the traffic. In the similar way as well, the Kubernetes cluster is also going to provision the platform in order to host our application. It is going to container, it is going to orchestrate the containers. Here, if you are using the Kubernetes, means what will happen? You are going to use the containers because of the Kubernetes is a container orchestration tool. So here you are going to host your application on top of the containers. Here if you want to host a container, what the prerequisite is? You need to have the container image. What do you mean by containerization? Containerization is nothing but packing of application along with its dependency. That is nothing but a containerization. Here by using the containers, you are going to host your web application. Okay, and I am going to show to you guys the basic web application, means the basic YAML file. So here this is my YAML file. I'm going to open with the help of the notepad just once. Yeah, this is the basic YAML file, and here you just need to understand a lot of things. The first thing is API version. What do you mean by API version? Here go to the material. Just what do you mean by API version? It is going to specify the API version of the resources. Means here which API version you are going to use for your AKS cluster. You are going to define here. Here what I had defined, the apps v1 means the version which I am going to use for this AKS cluster is v1. And kind. Here what do you mean by kind? Kind refers to the which kind of resource I am going to create, whether it may be deployment or service or pods, whatever it may be. The kind, the type of resources which I am going to create, I am going to define here. It is a kind of deployment. Here just refer the material. What do you mean kind? It indicates the type of Kubernetes object. Object or resource both are same. We can call as object or we can call as a resource, such as deployment, service, pods. Metadata. Here if you observe in the command, metadata. Generally what do you mean by metadata? Metadata is nothing but data about data. Here whatever the naming conventions which you are going to use in the AKS cluster, you are going to define here. That may be name, that may be label name, that may be namespace. So here all things you are going to mention in the metadata section only. Here it is a YAML script. What do you mean by YAML script? It is a key value pair. Suppose if it is a API version, you are going to mention which version. If it is a deployment kind, you are going to mention which kind of deployment it is there. Question answer, key value. Okay, this is about the YAML script. And here metadata, you are going to mention the naming convention like name, label name, and namespaces. All things you are going to mention the metadata. Spec, this is the main thing, guys. In the spec only you are going to mention all the configuration of your application. Here I am going to show to you spec. It is going to define the desired state and configuration of the resources. Means whatever the resources you are going to configure over the Kubernetes cluster, you are going to make some kind of configuration based on your requirement. Here the spec provides such kind of flexibility. You are going to configure your resource, like how many containers you want, how many replicas you want, how the container will be or pod will be selected, and what kind of service you want to run on top of the container. Everything you are going to define here in the spec. Generally what do you mean by container? container specifies the container image to be used. Means with the help of the container image, we are going to create the containers. On top of containers, we are going to run our services. This is the thing. And just like virtual machines, you are going to open the ports for your containers in order to make your containers to be exposed to the external world. And replicas means the number of desired ports for the deployment. Means replicas means, suppose if you want to run the same service over the multiple nodes, then you are going to mention the replicas. How many replicas you had mentioned, that many nodes your Kubernetes is using in order to run the service on the different worker nodes. Here selector, what do you mean by selector? Matches ports between, means matches ports based on labels. Here in the metadata session, you are going to mention the labels, like which name it should be allocated. So the selector is going to the task, it is going to matches the ports based on the labels. And service here defines how the application is accessed internally through a load balancer or node port. Here we can make our application to be accessible to the end user with the help of two things. Simply without having the load balancer as well, we can be able to expose. How? I just as a public IP and I am going to open some ports. So with the help of the port, the user can be able to access my application. Suppose if I want to make the traffic through the load balancer, what I will do? I am going to create one load balancer. Behind of the load balancer, I am going to add the container. Simply whatever the traffic which comes toward my web application, simply it is coming to the load balancer. From the load balancer, the traffic will be distributed to the backend containers. It is purely your choice based on your requirement. If you have the necessity, you can create the load balancer. If you don't have the necessity, you can ignore it. It's purely based on your choice. Okay, this is all thing about the manifest files, guys. Here have a quick look. In the specs, we have mentioned the replicas 2, means here it is going to run your service over 2 worker nodes. And the selector, it is going to match the ports. App, the simple web app. The template, here I am going to mention the app simple web application. Spec, what is the spec? It is going to create one container. The name of the container is web app container, and the container is going the image from the default Docker registry. Means the container will get the image from this, and once it get the image, it is going to create the container by using this image, and the container will be exposed to the port number 80. Here this is about the deployment. Here whatever the things are there regarding the deployment I had mentioned here. And the next thing is service. What kind of service? Here earlier the kind is deployment, but right now I am going to create the kind of service. Means here I am going to create the resource service. What resource I am going to create here? Load balancer. Load balancer is a service which I had created in this. Here metadata is simple web app service, and spec is it is going to use the protocol TCP. It is going to use the port number 80. The target port is also 80, and type is load balancer. Here what will happen if I executed this YAML script? It is going to create one load balancer, and the port number is going to open is port number 80, and it is going to match with the simple web app service. Okay, it is the name. So in this way, if I execute this script, what will happen? It is going to create one load balancer, and inside of load balancer I have one container with name web app container. It is going to use the image from the default registry, and the container will be exposed to the port through 80. Okay guys, so just I am going to close. Fine. So let me check whether the Kubernetes cluster has been created or not. Yes, it has been created. Just go to overview, just check. Currently the power state is running state, and it has been created under the resource group 1, and the default version is using, and it has one node pool. And guys, here how many node pools you want, that many node pools you can be able to attach to this AKS cluster. Here up to 5000 nodes we can be able, up to 5000 nodes can be able to attach to the Kubernetes service. Okay, these things we had already discussed in the last session, and this is the entire overview about that. Right now my platform is ready. I simply what I will do, I am going to open the what thing, Cloud Shell in order to communicate with the cluster. So guys, while performing the lab activity from your end, make sure you are in the bash shell. Suppose if you are in the PowerShell, make sure you just need to switch over to the bash shell. Here mostly while dealing with the container technology, we are going to execute the steps from the bash shell only, guys. Don't forget it. So while doing the practice, just please check it whether you are in the PowerShell bash or bash plan. Fine, right now I'm in the bash shell. So here what are the steps I need to execute? Here each and everything I just mentioned here. First of all, what I need to do, I need to connect. Here copy the command az get hyphen credentials resource group. So everything, so I'm going to expand the screen. Here, yes, CLE here, clear is the oh my god. Okay, where it go? Okay, clear is the command. It is going to clear the screen, and I just paste the command. Here what will happen? Here what is the cluster name? AKS 12. Here I am going to make it as duplicate one, then it will be easy for your reference. And what is the resource group name which I had set? RG1. Here remember guys, the AI tool or something, if you type any command, it is going to mention the command. Here you need to done the some customization to your commands. Blindly you are not supposed to execute any commands. Here whatever the command you have, you just need to make analyze. So what will happen if I execute this command and modify with the customizable things? Like right now if you check here, as a AKS get credentials, the resource group name is RG1 and the name of the AKS service is AKS12. If I execute this command, it is going to connect to the cluster. Fine, it has been successfully connected. Then I need to execute some commands in order to check whether how many nodes it have, how many pods it have. There are a lot of commands are there I can be able to communicate with. Suppose the first command is kubectl get nodes. Kubectl get nodes. This command is used to check how many nodes are there in my cluster. It is going to show 2 nodes because of the minimum nodes I had set is 2. The maximum nodes I had set is 3. Right now it is going to show 2 nodes. The first node is it displaying or not? Yes, it is displaying 2 nodes are there and the status is in ready state and it is using the version v1.31.8. It is the version which has been used by the nodes. And if I want to get the more information about the nodes, then how that will be done? Here I have the command kubectl get nodes -o wide. It is going to provide some kind of extra information about the nodes. Yes, are you get the extra information or not? Yes. Here you what you will get the internal IP and external IP. I didn't enable any external IP to the VMs or nodes, so that's why no external IP has been allocated to the nodes. And OS image is Ubuntu by default, and LTS guys, here if you observe LTS stands for long term support, and the kernel version which we are going to use 5.15.0, there is something, and containerized. Here we are going to containerized runtime. And if I want to explore more things, like if you want to check the kubectl namespace, which we are going to mention in the metadata, paste here, enter. This is the namespaces which we have in our AKS cluster. We have the default namespaces there, we have kube node release namespaces there, kube public namespaces there, kube system namespaces there, and kubectl get ports all namespaces. Why? Command to get the ports of all namespaces. Here, paste here. Yes, this is the command which will get all the ports of namespaces. These are the different ports which are currently running on my AKS cluster. fine. Okay. And one more thing, guys, suppose if I want to deploy, right now I have the manifest file which is readily available with me. I just want to apply this manifest file to the Kubernetes cluster. From Cloud Shell as well you can be apply, otherwise through command prompt from your local machine as well you can be apply. So here what I will do, first of all I am going to upload the file which is readily available on my local machine, just desktop, where it is. Before selecting, I am going to show one thing. If you type ls clear, clear the screen, and if you type ls, is it showing anything? Nothing. Means right now there is no files are there. So I am going to upload one new file. Go to desktop and come here. Simple web app.yml. Manifest files are in which format? YAML format. If you type ls here right now, it is going to display the file which you had uploaded right now. Yes. Okay. If you want to open the file, cat simple tab. This is the file which I had uploaded. This is my manifest file. I just want to apply this manifest file to the Kubernetes cluster in order to make the application deployment. How? What is the command? Here go to the material, each and everything I had mentioned, guys. Here no worries, simply executing the steps which I had mentioned, then you will be able to make the deployment. Yeah, kubectl apply, paste here. Here just close and run again. Yes, kubectl get nodes. No, I just mentioned some wrong command. Kubectl get nodes. Yes, it has been connected. So the command which I want to execute is kubectl -f kube manifests. Let me check. So the path kubenet does not exist, means here I just need to mention the manifest file name. So here what I will do, I'm going to take one notepad. So paste the command here, and what you will do, so instead of doing that, so what is the file name? Here, where is my file? Here, this is my file. Show more option, rename. Just copy the file name. Okay, and come here, come to the notepad, paste. Copy the command kubectl apply fnf. I am going to apply this manifest file to the cluster. Okay, copy the command and come here, paste here. Let me check whether it will be executed or not. 100% it will be executed because of this is the YAML file which I want to apply to the AKS cluster. Okay, guys. Suppose if you want to check the same whether it has been successfully done or not. Here, if you type the command kubectl get deployment, it is going to show the things. Yes. Here deployment is done or not. What is the deployment name? Simple web app. If I want to check the same simple web app, is it going to show correctly or not? If I want to check the service, kubectl get, what is the service? Load balancer, whether it has been created or not, check. Yes, simple web app service. Let me check. Simple web app service is there. Yes, simple web app service is there. Means the things which I had defined over the YAML script, the same thing will be executed on top of AKS cluster. Here it is going to provide the external IP, means I am going to provide this external IP to the end users or by providing the DNS name. So simply whatever the users are going to try to access my application, they are going to get the traffic to this load balancer with IP 20.1. Suppose if you want to check the same, here you can mention, okay, just copy the IP, okay, then you will be able to access some kind of default page. Maybe sometimes it is going to get the time, but definitely it is going to make your application to be available with the help of the load balancer. So here this is the things, okay guys. And testing the application, take the load balance external IP, show an image and paste it in Microsoft Edge browser. You can be able to get the access, you can be able to view the application. Here maybe it will take some time, but surely it will be reloaded. So what I will do, I am going to open the new Indigo tab in order to check the same. New Indigo tab, let me check whether it is working or not. Yes, you are seeing this warning because of this site does not support HTTPS. Here what you are going to use, yes, I am going to use the HTTP only, no worries. I don't want to add any kind of certificate. HTTPS for secure connection, but right now I don't want to make any kind of secure connection to make certificate to the web traffic in order to make the application to be secure from the external threats. But right now there is no such kind of requirement which is available with me, because of as I am going to create this for the lab purpose, it is not required for me guys. Okay, no worries. In the meanwhile we will have we already have seen. So in this way, this is the command prompt. So in this way we can be able to make the application to be deployed on top of Kubernetes service. Suppose if your client is not providing you the access to access the Kubernetes service through Azure portal, simply he asks you, the client is asking you, whatever the things you want to make on the Kubernetes service, please do from your local machine. I am going to provide some kind of access to you. From your local machine only you can be able to control the entire Kubernetes cluster. Then how, in that case what you will do is, first of all you just need to open your command prompt as a system administrator. Okay, for that just type the cmd and right click and run as administrator. Then the command prompt will be open to you guys in this way. So here if you want to log into the Azure portal, the command is az login. If you type az login, it is going to through the browser, it is redirected you through browser to login. Just click on here, you have logged into the Microsoft Azure. Okay, successfully I had made login. Yes, select a subscription and tenant number, type a number or enter for no changes. Okay, and nothing is required. So okay, right now I had been successfully able to connect to the Azure portal from my command prompt. Fine. Okay, if you want to execute the same command, then you can be able to see. So each and everything I had mentioned in the middle guys, don't be confused about that. First of all you need to install the AKS install. Means you are going to, if you want to make the controlling of AKS cluster through the command line interface, what you are going to use, here you are going to use CLI, AKS CLI. Okay, by using the Azure CLI you are going to control the command to install the Azure CLI on your cluster or laptop is the AKS. As I had already installed the Azure CLI on my local machine, so that's why it is not required right now. But if you are a new one, if you don't have the Azure CLI on your command prompt, simply type this command, then you will be able to install the Azure CLI on your local machine guys. Fine. Okay, here I'm going to connect. So in order to connect, what the command I'm going to use, simply What is the cluster name? AKS12. And what is the resource group name? RG1. Enter. Then you will be able to connect to the AKS cluster. Fine. Suppose if you type the command kubectl get nodes, will you get the information or not? Yes, obviously you will get the information. So similarly, what are the different types of things which you had done over the bash shell in Azure portal? The same things you can be able to perform on your command prompt on your local machine. Means from your local machine command prompt you can be able to control the entire Kubernetes cluster. Suppose if you have the manifest file which is available in your local machine, so with the command prompt you can be able to make the deployment. So this is the feasibility which we have. Either you can do graphical user interface, or from the command prompt as well you can make the deployment. Okay guys, and if you want to delete the entire cluster, there is a command is there. For that also command is there. So what is the command in order to delete? There will be a command guys. So here let me check whether, if you don't find any command, simply go to internet and search for command to delete AKS cluster. Simply you will get a command. This is the command. Copy the command and go here, or command your command prompt as well. So we had deployed through Azure Cloud Shell in the Azure. So we are going to delete the cluster from the command prompt in my local machine. Resource group is RG1, and what is the cluster name? AKS1. AKS12. Execute it. Are you sure? Yes. It is going to delete. So in the meanwhile, let me check whether it has been executed or not. Maybe it is not showing, but surely you will be able to access the web application with the help of the IP. It has been deleted, but this is the process which we are going to take in order to host our web application. Once it has been successfully deployed through external IP, you can be able to access the application which you had deployed on top of AKS cluster. This is the process guys, and by using the Azure pipelines as well, we can be able to make the deployment over the AKS cluster. Regarding the things, I had made already video on the automation of application deployment by using the AKS on my previous videos. Then you can refer that material or videos, then you will have some kind of better understanding. Just if you refer the playlist of Azure DevOps, there I had taken a lot of sessions on the pipeline related things. Through pipeline, how we are going to make the deployments. Okay guys, so because of, if I made again the same video, it is going to create some kind of duplicate session. So I just want to avoid that. So that's why I'm going to refer you guys. Please refer Azure DevOps playlist. There I had made the session on how we are going to make the deployment over the AKS cluster with the help of Azure pipelines. Then you will have kind of better understanding how manually we can be able to deploy, how we can deploy by using the pipelines. Everything you will be perfect. Okay guys, hope you guys understood the session. Thank you so much guys for your support and watching the videos. And if you have any queries, just please put in the comment section. Accordingly, I am going to revert to your queries whenever I am free. And thank you so much guys. I will meet up you in the next session with a new topic. Until signing off, thank you, bye bye.